Hi guys, Team Elvis. Defending Elvis Presley, fans want the truth. I haven't really told anyone that we're live. I just sort of jumped on, got myself a tea. Right, we're going to review some Priscilla videos. So happy 2005. Today, 2005, in case you watch this in 5 years' time, it's New Year's Day, 2005. We're in my house, in my kitchen. My name's Louis. Yeah, Boxing Day. Tino's behind me, and he's having his little crumpet and his biscuit. And we are defending Elvis Presley. That's what we do. And we are also an Elvis channel. So we cover all sorts of Elvis topics. And we're having a fun day today. Third live because it literally has been raining since 6 in the morning. My wife's watching loads of movies. The kids, it's one of those very sort of we're at home today days. Yeah. So I've done a couple of lives. We did one. Is Mum here? No, she's just dropping off our daughter to her friend's house. She'll be back in a minute. Yeah. So yes, the Katies. So we did a live just now that was the Auld Lang Syne song and the story about Elvis singing it on New Year's Eve 1976. That was interesting. We did the newest update with the Bridget Cruz situation with Graceland, with Elvis Presley Enterprises. There's something going on there that has just been announced. So that was on the last live stream. The first live stream we did was more just discussing, what is this? My kid's toy. We were just discussing the right to defend. We have found a comment on Instagram, off an Instagram channel. We disagreed with that comment, so we have reviewed that comment and we went through it, just explaining why we have the right to defend Elvis Presley and Lisa and the bloodline, why we ignore the people that feel that we should not defend Elvis. We ignore the people that feel that our name defending Elvis is pointless, and we stand by our right to defend. Okay, guys? So I really wanted to start this year with running. Yeah, like what's the word? 1 foot down and running, and just to make it very clear to everyone, and channels, and Facebook, and subscribers, and members, and YouTube fans, and Elvis fans, we're going to defend in 2025. Okay, guys? Happy New Year. So what we're going to do, I hope you're all right, Fanola. So what we're going to do, guys, we're just going to start reviewing a video with Priscilla. It's a very early video. I think it's with Tom Snyder. I think it's 1980. And I keep saying that initially we had a Priscilla that left Elvis after Elvis died as well, that was being very careful how she spoke about Elvis. You know, we're talking 78, 79. But then a new Priscilla emerges, a new Priscilla, Priscilla the victim. This is way before this book, comes out. Obviously, you know my feelings about this book. I think this book is a book of lies. So a new Priscilla starts to emerge, and the new Priscilla is the one that is repainting a picture of Elvis as a groomer, a controller, an abuser, a predator, an addict, an overweight man that binge ate food, also a serial adulterer. So bit by bit, oh, I was only 14. She gives the impression that they were together at 14 until they got married in 1966. They were together for 8 years. Well, this is a lie. They were not together for 8 years and then got married. That is not the truth. They were not together until around when they got engaged in 1966. The marriage hardly lasted. A few years and the marriage is all over. Priscilla is unfaithful a few months after Lisa Marie is born, 10 months after the marriage. So when you hear people say, oh, they were together for 8 years before they got married, which you will hear again and again in different interviews, it is a lie. It is not true. They were not together. They briefly met in Germany. They didn't see each other for a couple of years, which she's admitted many times. In fact, recently we posted an interview with, oh, what was his name again? Let me just get his name up. We posted a video yesterday. Is it Tony something? Oh, God, I've forgotten his name. Is it Tony Danza? Let's have a look. Let me get his name right. Even in the Tony Danza interview, where is it? Let's find it. Which I only posted yesterday. I forgot. I'm sure it's Tony Danza. The guy from the program Who's the Boss. There we are. Tony Danza. Even in that interview, Priscilla admits that Elvis hadn't seen her for 2 years before she eventually moved over to stay at Vernon's home with Dee. And she was not his girlfriend. She didn't move over. Thanks, Finola. She was not his girlfriend. They were seeing each other. There was something going on, but Elvis was living a single life. Yeah. She knew it as well. She hoped they may get engaged. She hoped they may get married, may have a baby. But from 62 to 66, Elvis lived as a single man, and she knew it. She knew exactly what she was getting into. All right, is he related to the Fonz? I love the Fonz. Hey, the Fonz. I love the Fonz. One of my favorite programs growing up as a kid. Absolutely love the Fonz. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm getting to the point, guys. So the bottom line is, we're given this impression from Priscilla that they were together from 14 for 8 years. They get engaged, get married, have a baby, split up because Elvis took drugs, because Elvis was unfaithful. That's the impression we're given. None of that is true. It's all bullshit. It's a reinvention of history, a rewriting of history. The truth is, Elvis hardly knew Priscilla. Then he went back to to America in 1960 and got on with his life. Made a movie, made some albums, did the Frank Sinatra show, got on with his life. We're seeing other people, Deborah Pageant, Anne Margaret, Anita Wood. You know, Elvis was a single man. Priscilla was hoping they may go further. Priscilla was very persistent to come over to America. So the story of spoon-fed is being twisted. So, right. So I've said it all before, guys. So now what we're going to do... I like it. What don't you like, mate? We're going to put this video on. And we're going to break it down. So Priscilla, let me just put this on. You can sit on my lap. Right, hang on 1 second. Whoa. Right, let me just put this on. Okay, let me have a look for you. Let's get this on. Say hello to Team Elvis. Hello. Hang on, I'll make your sandwich before you sit on my lap. Right, do you want to make your sandwich?
Yeah, with chocolate.
Yeah. Okay, well, how am I going to do that if you start on my lap?
Took up with her karate instructor.
Right, let's get this on.
People close to Elvis say he never got over it.
Oops. Hang on.
All the women in the world who fell for Elvis Presley.
Stay there.
Chose this one. Meet Priscilla Presley.
Hang on, guys.
When Elvis married, 73, 5 years after they married, Priscilla left and took up with her karate instructor. People close to Elvis say he never got over it.
Right, let me go and make your sandwich. You got to turn
Of
that
all
down.
the women in the world who fell for Elvis Presley, he chose this one. Meet Priscilla Presley, the only woman Elvis married and the woman who bore his only child. They met when Elvis was in the service, stationed in Germany. Priscilla was only 14. She was called an Air Force brat. In 1973, 5 years after they married, Priscilla left and took up with her karate instructor. People close to Elvis say he never got over it. Now, Priscilla and their 12-year-old daughter Lisa are on their own. Priscilla does television commercials and is studying acting. This fall, she'll host a program about animals for ABC. From Los Angeles, Priscilla Presley.
It was during that time when your father was in the Air Force and Elvis Presley was in the Army that you two first met. Could you tell me how that happened, where it was, and what the circumstances were?
Gee, it was, a month after I arrived in West Germany.
I was sitting in a snack bar. It wasn't really a snack bar. It was just a place where a lot of the people would used to go and have hamburgers and Cokes or whatever. And a gentleman came up to me and asked if I'd like to meet Elvis. And I thought he was kidding and said, sure, yeah. All right, now what? And he says, no, I'm really serious. I go to his house a lot, and would you like to go? And I said, I still didn't believe him. And then it was another day that I was there, and he was also there. He said, I'm serious. I told him about you, and he'd like to meet you. It sounds very, offbeat, but that's exactly how it happened. And I asked my parents. My parents were very leery. Didn't think, hadn't really checked him out to see if it was okay. And I went, and from that moment on, we started seeing each other. I didn't know at that time if it was ever serious. I mean, it was just something. He was very lonely, and I occupied a lot of his time. I mean, he had an affinity toward me, a great care for me. I guess after we saw each other for the 8 months that we did, I figured I'd never see him again. I didn't think I ever would. And then he started calling me and kept the relationship going. And I'd hoped to see him again, but I didn't see him until 1962 when he called and asked my parents if they would allow me to go over there and see him. Over there meaning going to LA. I was back still in Germany.
At what point did you move to Graceland?
Right.
I moved to Graceland when I was...
Right, sorry about that, guys. All right, let me just pause that. I'm going to go back a bit because I want to break that down properly. I was doing Tino a sandwich, which is not straightforward, but he's got his salad. I'm going to start again, but I will stop it this time because there's quite a few things in there that I want to disagree with. So Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. We are breaking down a 1980 interview of Priscilla with Tom Snyder. And this is quite a rare interview because it's one of the few interviews that Priscilla gave. She hadn't done hardly any interviews at this point. I think she had done a couple.
73, 5 years after they married, Priscilla left and took up with her karate instructor. People close to Elvis say he never got over it.
Well, hang on, let me just... Well, I'll pause on that bit straight away. So, seriously, guys, on a serious note, do you think Elvis ever got over Priscilla? I want to be honest with you. Yeah, there's not many of us on here now, but leave it in the comments. If anyone is watching this later, leave it in the comments. Do you think Elvis ever got over Priscilla? There's only a few of us on here now. Can I ask you your feelings? Do you think Elvis ever got over Priscilla, over the way that they divorced? He never got over losing Lisa. But that's true. No, but honestly, it's quite a tough question. Did Elvis ever get over splitting up from Priscilla? Obviously, she took Lisa with her, but does anyone here think that Elvis still pined for Priscilla? Does anyone think that? Yeah, so Josie thinks he got over her. Finola, he got over Priscilla, but not cheating, not the cheating element. Obviously, a man's pride is seriously hurt when his wife cheats. So Debbie has a good point, really. He didn't just lose Priscilla, did he? He lost Lisa. So I 100% I agree with Debbie that the Lisa thing was the most damage. When she wanted to come back to Elvis, she had a fight with Mike Stone, and he said no. Yes, I've read that 100 times. Is it true? Is this thing about her having a fight with Mike Stone? This phone call is well known. Elvis said no. Is it true? Is it true? Because I've never had proof of that. I've heard it repeated again and again. But I'd love to have some proof of it. I didn't hear Mike Stone say it. When I watched Mike Stone being interviewed, he didn't say it. He didn't say it. So, and I've watched a few of his interviews, Mike Stone. So I'd like to know if that is true. Yeah. But I'll tell you what I think. I think, of course, his pride was very, very bruised, especially it being a karate instructor. I mean, a karate champion, Mike Stone. Because he was well known. Elvis had sort of met him a few times. They weren't friends, but they'd met each other a few times. I think because karate was so important to Elvis, that it being Mike Stone was a problem for Elvis, which is, I think, why he massively overreacted We know about that with the Memphis Mafia. They put it in the book, Elvis, What Happened, the Betrayal book, Sonny West, Red West, Dave Hebler. We know Elvis was going crazy, like so angry, climbing up the walls. It's very sad. Now, do I think Elvis, let's put it more blunt. Do I think Elvis still was in love with Priscilla? I don't think he was in love with her as a wife, but I think as the mother of his child, maybe there's a protective kind of love where you protect the mother of your child. Maybe that went on, so there was a hold over him. Do I think Elvis still fancied her and wanted to have sex with her? Probably not, and I'll tell you why. Because he had in his head that she's been with other men. Don't forget, 2 men, Mike Stone and Steve Peck. So I do think, hi Jim, I don't think Elvis could bring himself really to seeing her in the same way. Maybe they did sort of a few times before they finally divorced. Maybe they got it together, but generally the mold was broke. Elvis didn't see her as this loyal wife or this faithful girl, this sweet, innocent girl. Elvis saw her in a different light after she'd been unfaithful with the dance instructor. So let's keep going, guys.
Presley. He chose this one. Meet Priscilla Presley, the only woman Elvis married and the woman who bore his only child. They met when Elvis was in the service, stationed in Germany. Priscilla was only 14. She was called an Air Force brat. In 1973, 5 years after they married, Priscilla left and took up with her karate instructor. People close to Elvis say he never got over it. Now, Priscilla and their 12-year-old daughter Lisa are on their own. Priscilla does television commercials and is studying acting. This fall, she'll host a program about animals for ABC. From Los Angeles, Priscilla Presley.
It was during that time when your father was in the Air Force and Elvis Presley was in the Army that you two first met. Could you tell me how that happened, where it was, and what the circumstances were?
Gee, it was, a month after I arrived in Wiesbaden, Germany. I was sitting in a snack bar. It wasn't really a snack bar. It was just a place where a lot of the people would used to go and have hamburgers and Cokes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a gentleman came up to me and asked if I'd like to meet Elvis. And I thought he was kidding and said, sure, yeah. All right, now what? And he said,
So I'm going to keep jumping in because we're reviewing this. Now, don't forget what she says. We know about the Cary Grant introduction. She meets him in the cafe. But this book says different. This book says it was all pre-planned. She was not the sweet, innocent virgin. Sex for favors with Cary Grant as long as he introduced her to Elvis. This book says it was all pre-planned, which included the mother, Priscilla's mother. So, guys, do any of you believe this book? Do any of you believe this book also says that Priscilla was no sweet, innocent virgin, that really secretly she was quite a naughty girl and liked the bad boys? So, guys, who believes this book? Let's keep going.
his house a lot, and would you like to go? And I said, I still didn't believe him. And then it was another day that I was there, and he was also there. And he said, I'm serious. I told him about you, and he'd like to meet you. It sounds very, offbeat, but that's exactly how it happened. And then I asked my parents. My parents were very leery. Didn't think, had really checked him out to see if it was okay. And I went, and from that moment on, we started seeing each other. I didn't know at that time if it was ever serious. I mean, it was just something. He was very lonely, and I occupied a lot of his time. I mean, he had an affinity toward me. He had a great care for me. I guess after we saw each other for the 8 months that we did, I figured I'd never see him again. I didn't think I ever would. And then he started calling me and kept the relationship going. And I'd hoped to see him again, but I didn't see him until 1962 when he called and asked my parents if they would allow me to go over there and see him. Over there meaning going to LA. I was back still in Germany.
At what point did you move to Graceland?
I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16.
But not to marry him.
Right,
Just to live
hungover?
there and to continue your school. What kind of an arrangement was that they worked out?
The arrangement was that I was going to a Catholic school, all-girl Catholic school. And my parents, they arranged it together, my parents and Elvis, making sure that I got my education. And that was the arrangement. And I lived at Graceland, and his grandmother, well, the whole family lived there, so that's where I stayed.
Would you say it was a sheltered life, Priscilla?
I didn't realize how sheltered until later in my years, but later,
I want to go back. I want to go back a little bit more on that. Wait a second. Because
he had an affinity toward me. He had a great care for me.
So
I guess
she says he had an affinity for me, a great care for me. But we found out here that he was seeing 3 or 4 different girls. Yeah, he was definitely seeing the secretary. Is it Stefan or something? He was seeing 3 or 4 different girls, but she is portraying that once he met her, don't forget he met her 6 months before he was due to go back. Yeah, she's trying to say that once he met her, that was it. He wanted her. When the truth is, yes, they had a close friendship. Yeah. She uses the word he had an affinity for me. Now, remember, in my opinion, she is tricking the public into believing her story, her version of events. I actually don't believe that. I actually do not believe that when Elvis met Priscilla, he just wanted her, that he had an affinity for her. I think she was one of many. I think she was too young for him and he knew it. So he just only wanted a friendship. So you got to remember, a lot of the things that are said in this book about Elvis pouring his heart out to her and talking about his mother and talking about being forgotten and his movie career, we don't know any of that happened. We know Priscilla said it happened. There's kissing scenes in the bedroom upstairs in the house in Germany. We don't know it happened. We don't know. I'm not saying it did or didn't. I'm saying we actually don't know what is truth coming out of that woman's mouth. We don't know. Every single point, she's now going to mention all these different points. Even the Curry Grant meeting, we don't know the truth. We know her version that is being said in this interview in 1980. So we have to keep an open mind. We have to go, right, what is true? What is she saying that is truthful? What is she saying that's not truth? Also, is she bending the truth? Is she bending the truth? So we have to remember, this is a very smart woman, a very smart woman. She knows that millions of people are watching this. She knows the whole world will watch this interview at some point. So she's playing a game. She thinks that we are quite gullible, the public around the world, the American public. She thinks they're very gullible and will more or less believe anything she says. I think Priscilla at some point learnt that she could literally say and print what she wanted and that the public will believe every word. And why wouldn't they? Elvis is dead. Elvis has passed away. Elvis has been dead a few years at this point. So he can't defend himself. He can't get up and disagree with what she's saying. He can't stand up and say, hang on a minute, that never happened. So she knows she is writing her own story. I repeat, she is writing her own story. She can say whatever she wants in a book and in an interview. So we must remember this, guys.
After we saw each other for the 8 months that we did, I figured I'd never see him again.
Right, there we are. Right, okay. Right, remember, we're picking it as it goes. After we saw each other for the 8 months that we did, we've already proved that it was 6 months. 6 months, yeah? And they weren't seeing each other. They were friends. Friends. So let's keep jumping in and breaking it down.
I think I ever would. And then he started calling me.
There we go. Right, okay, remember. Right, hang on. I'm going to keep jumping in here. Then he started calling me and keep the relationship going. Well, that isn't true. We know that she was sending letters in pink envelopes. She was sending records. She is the one that kept the contact going. She kept the contact going. Now, eventually, after a very long period, Elvis did make a phone call. Yeah? But we don't really know how long that period was, do we? We don't really know. Yeah? So remember, every word she says, you take it with a pinch of salt because we don't know what is truth. She's how can I say it? She is writing down her story. She knows everyone is believing her, including Tom Snyder. So keep an open mind, guys. Let's keep going.
Going. And I'd hope to see him again.
So hang on.
But I didn't think I ever would.
So remember, she says, I didn't think I was ever going to see him again, but then he phoned me to keep the relationship going. Keep the, yeah? See what she's saying? Elvis did it. Elvis got in touch with me. Elvis kept things going. When the truth is, it was the other way around.
And then he started calling me and kept the relationship going. And I'd hoped to see him again, but I didn't see him until 1962 when he called and asked my parents if they would allow me to go over there and see him.
Right, okay.
Over there, meaning going to LA.
Right, remember, she didn't see him again until 1962 when he called and asked me to go over to LA. We don't know that. We don't know that he made the first call. Again, Priscilla's version. Now, don't forget, in 1962, she did go over for a couple of visits when she was 17. She says she was 16. She was 17. Let's keep going, guys.
I was back still in Germany.
At what point did you move to Graceland?
I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16.
Okay, right, here we go. Now, good guys, look at the look on her face. When she says it, she smiles. I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16. She's just said, this is proof, guys. She has just said she was 15 when she moved to Graceland. Listen to her words. I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16. We know she was 17. Remember, what does that do to the public? The public in 1980 that were believing everything that Priscilla says, that looked at Priscilla like a victim, yeah, would have listened to that and they would have thought, oh my God, 15 years old, she left Germany, she left her parents to go and live with Elvis. That's what the public would think. She has a smile in her eyes. When she says it, look at her eyes. She has a smile in her eyes. Now, we also must remember that in the 1950s, 60s, it was not unusual for a man in his 20s to date a teenager. Remember that, 16 and up. So for a man in his 20s to date a girl that was 16, 17, 18, 19 was completely normal in the 1960s. It's not 2024, yeah? So again, we've caught a barefaced lie. That is a barefaced lie. She was not 15 when she moved to Graceland, and when she did move to Graceland, she lived with Vernon and Dee, and she was nearly 18. When she actually moved to Graceland, she was nearly 18. Yes, when she was 17, she did holiday there, I think 3 times, could have been 2 times, once at Christmas. Okay, guys, so we're getting, can you see the game being played here? Can you see the way that the public are being manipulated and brainwashed, spoon-fed lies? She's playing a very cunning game. This is why we defend Elvis. Anybody watching now, look at the lies that we've picked out, and we're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds in of a 20-minute video. We've already proved she was the one that kept in touch with Elvis. Elvis hadn't seen her for 2 years. She says after 3 weeks. You see, guys, lots of manipulating and lying going on. Let's keep watching it, guys.
Going to LA. I was back still in Germany.
At what point did you move to Graceland?
I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16.
But not to marry him, just to live there and to continue your schooling. But what kind of an arrangement was that they worked out?
The arrangement was that I was going to a Catholic school, all-girl Catholic school.
Right, hang on. Right, hang on. Again, look, I haven't even gone 10 seconds. She's live already. She didn't move to Graceland. She lived with Vernon and Dee behind Graceland. Yeah? Yes, she's going to go on and talk about her education. Again, a barefaced lie. The public are watching. They're thinking, oh my God, she's moved in with Elvis at 15 years old. That's what they're thinking. When the truth is, she moved in with him when she was nearly 18. So Josie, back then, Germany, a 14-year-old was allowed to date an older man with parents' consent. Hawaii and other states. Yeah, but that's beside the point, Josie, because Elvis wasn't dating her at 14. Elvis had become friends with her. He had 3 or 4 other girlfriends that were over 20. You must remember this. Be careful. What the manipulation here is. Oh, you know, we had a sexual affair for 6 months. She says 8 months. But and then I moved over to Graceland and lived with him. That's the manipulation. The truth is, there was no sex. Elvis had other girlfriends. When Elvis only briefly met her for around 6 months, even though she says 8. Then when she's 17, after being persistent, she eventually goes over to visit Elvis. So we've got to remember, she's painting the painting. Yeah. So let's keep going, guys.
Going to LA. I was back still in Germany.
At what point did you move to Graceland?
I moved to Graceland when I was close to 16.
But not to marry him, just to live there and to continue your school.
Why is she
What
laughing?
arrangement was that they worked out?
The arrangement was that I was going to a Catholic school, all-girl Catholic school. And my parents, they arranged it together, my parents and Elvis, making sure that I got my education. And that was the arrangement. And I lived at Graceland, and his grandmother, well, the whole family lived there, so that's where I stayed.
Would you say it was a sheltered life, Priscilla?
I didn't realize how sheltered until later.
I just want to go. I just want to go back about when she mentions who she moved in with. Like, obviously, she says the grandparents and that, but that isn't the truth, is it? Let me just listen to it. There's so many lies coming out like that. Boom, 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 boom. It's hard to keep up.
And my parents, they arranged it together, my parents and Elvis, making sure that I got my education. And that was the arrangement. And I lived at Graceland, and his grandmother, well, the whole family lived there, so that's where I stayed.
Would you say it was a sheltered
life? Right, hang on. Yeah, so, sorry I keep grabbing the phone, but I have to. She didn't move to Graceland. She moved in the house behind Graceland, stayed with Vernon and Dee. Yeah? Barefaced lie. Then she now goes on to say, now, Priscilla, when she moved to Graceland, she had the time of her life. She loved it. She made loads of friends, family. She had the wives of the Memphis Mafia. She had family allowed to visit. Yeah? So she now will go on to this, oh, it was sheltered. Let's keep going, guys. The lies are coming out so fast. I'm going to have to read your comments after we've watched this. Okay, guys?
I didn't realize how sheltered until later in my years, but later, last 2 years, I didn't realize that it was a very sheltered life.
What did your friends think? I'm sure you rode up in a limousine with all kinds of people.
Hang on. I have to, remember, I led a very sheltered life. Yeah? It's so far from the truth. So far. She had her own car, guys. She could do whatever she wanted to. So this is the beginning of the storyline of I was in a prison. I was in a dungeon. I was controlled. I was groomed. This is all part of the story.
Get out of the car and walk and say, wow, what's going on here?
Very few words were ever exchanged. Very few. I mean, I went to school, did what I had to do, and left. I didn't really develop a friendship with anyone. Very few people asked me any questions. It was done very secretly. I was dropped off, and at 9 o'clock in the morning, I would go only 9 to 12. I wore a uniform, and I remember rushing and changing my clothes real fast because I didn't want to be teased by all the guys. Yeah, my uniform.
Did you ever want to rebel against that? Did you ever want to just break out of that and say, hey, I want to be me. I don't want this wall around me or this
Not
protection.
at that time. I don't think so. Not at that time. I was too young and just living. I didn't really think about it.
Did he spoil you? Lots of presents, lots of goodies.
Yeah, but he spoiled everyone. He was just very generous.
When you and Elvis finally decided that your marriage was over, it has been written that even though it was over, you remain good friends. Is that a true statement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't care what's been written. We were always very close. We had a very good relationship. In fact, Lisa, our daughter, was always felt very healthy.
Right. Okay. See, I told you the lies are coming too fast. Right. We know, we've proved it, and she admits it in the book. Remember, she writes this book 5 years after that. We had a very close relationship. We were really close. You know, when Lisa come along, we know she was unfaithful to Elvis around 8 weeks after Lisa Marie was born, 10 months after the wedding. So when she says we had a close relationship, when Lisa come along, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So again, how many lies have we found? I would say we have found at least 6 lies, and we're only 4 minutes in on a 20-minute interview. So we get where we're going, guys. Yeah, let's keep going.
Rebel against that? Did you ever want to just break out of that and say, "Hey, I want to be me. I don't want this wall around me or this
Not at
protection"?
that time.
You know?
I don't think so. Not at that time. I was too young and just living. I didn't really think about it.
Did he spoil you? Lots of presents, lots of goodies.
Yeah, but he spoiled everyone. I mean, he was just very generous.
When you and Elvis finally decided that your marriage was over, it has been written that even though it was over, you remain good friends. Is that a true statement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't care what's been written. You know, we...
Oh, right, okay.
We had a very...
Okay, right. So let's just... Right, I missed the marriage split up bit. Now, I don't believe that they were good friends when they split up. I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that Elvis was deeply in love with his daughter. He worshipped his daughter. He was scared of saying anything wrong to Priscilla in case Priscilla took his daughter away from him even more. Don't forget, she's already taken Lisa away, and Lisa is living with Mike Stone. Yeah? So you got to remember that Elvis was very careful how he spoke to Priscilla, because all that mattered to him was the next time he saw Lisa. Priscilla had a lot of power, especially in the 70s. If you split up, the child went with the mum. Yeah, Elvis knew that. So do I think they were really best friends and really close and got on really well? No, I think Elvis put on a really good false front to keep her happy so that he could keep seeing Lisa. And probably financially there was a problem as well. Now, the divorce settlement in 1973 wasn't too bad. But we now know that there was a horrific second divorce settlement that was brutal, that was very cruel, that nearly bankrupted Elvis. And this was still going on when Elvis passed away. Yeah? So let's keep watching, guys.
Relationship. In fact, Lisa, our daughter, you know, was always felt very healthy that way, because it was always as if we never divorced.
Yeah, that's
Following
rubbish.
his death, what did you make of all the, I'm going to say the word opportunists, who were quick to write books, quick to put out pirated record albums, posters, other bits of memorabilia to make a fast buck? What did that do to you, and how did you feel about that?
I think that was the hardest thing in the world to deal with. People who were friends for so many years that you confided in. People, in fact, it goes on today. You know, these people who you do trust, to turn around and to do something like that, it's a low blow. It was a low blow for him. Those are things you just don't do. You know, you don't, or you hope will never happen to you. I mean, you're very vulnerable at that point in your life when you're in the limelight. And one of the most difficult things in the world is to explain that to a child, you know, who she cared very much about a lot of people who were in the group. And even, you know, today, to see these books being written, thinking that these were her friends, these were part of the family.
My God, I mean, does anyone fall for that, guys? Does anyone, after knowing what was written in the book, in this book, you know, she says a low blow, yeah, and she talks about the Memphis Mafia and the other books that were written. Yeah. Priscilla, who was going to put wrongs to rights. She's talking about people being unfair to Elvis with their books, but then she does it. And then she spends the next 40 years giving the impression that she was groomed and controlled, and that Elvis was a predator, almost a pedophile. And she spends the next 40 years lying about Elvis. Now, I understand she also says good things. You know, come on, I've watched all the interviews. She'll say a lot of good things and then she throws in the bad things. Or she'll wait for the interviewer to say the bad things, to ask the bad questions, the negative questions. She waits for it to come. She manipulates the interviewers around the world. She knows they're going to ask the questions. She just nods her head and smiles, even though many of the questions that are asked are not correct. She goes along with it. Oh, were you together at 14, were you? Oh, yeah, we were. We were together for 8 years before we got married. No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Why?
Has it been difficult for you to explain to her some of the things that have been written unfairly and erroneously about her father? How do you do that?
Oh, that's Tom. That's really difficult. I mean, I keep as much from her as possible. She hasn't seen a lot, and she doesn't want to believe a lot of it. But again, you say, hey, he was a great person. He was wonderful. He was your dad. And how do you see him? And she just sees him as her dad, and wonderful and kind and generous, and not as they, portray him.
I'm certain that since Mr. Presley died, a number of people might have approached you to write your version or your memoirs or My Life with Elvis or whatever the title might have been. You've resisted those suggestions.
Right.
Why?
Well, I don't feel at this time in my life why should I do that? I mean, I don't. I'm still living my life. My daughter's still living her life. He's had so much written about him that I think enough has been said. I hope the people, the public, will see him as a great entertainer and a great person, and not what people have portrayed him. I mean, there's so much untruth about a lot of that I couldn't see that. I couldn't see doing that.
Will the day come when you would sit down?
All right, I just want to pause it a section. Denzel, I've been reading a few of your comments, Denzel. Now, let's have a look. Let me just get this a minute. Sorry. Right, Denzel, I just want to. I'm not sure how much of our live streams you've watched, Denzel, but welcome to Team Elvis. Look, I know that the general opinion is that Elvis was in a candy store and he couldn't help himself, and he had as many sweets as he could, yeah? And that he loved chatting up women, loved flirting with women, going after different women. You're saying that your comment is sort of saying that he couldn't help himself because he was in an impossible situation where he couldn't say no, yeah? But it isn't straightforward. It isn't straightforward. Now, we're talking about Priscilla here, yeah? Remember, I'm not talking about Elvis after Priscilla. Elvis after Priscilla had numerous girlfriends and at the same time would have more than one girlfriend. Now, we've already learned that many of these girlfriends Elvis didn't sleep with, yeah? He just wanted company. Elvis, I would say Elvis actually got bored of sex when he got older. No, Denzel, I want to get to a point with you, yeah? I understand what you're saying about how Elvis played the field, yeah? From Linda Thompson onwards, he played the field. But when he was with Priscilla, it was different. And let me just try and say it quickly, because everyone on here has heard me say it a million times. Eventually, Priscilla moves over. Priscilla knew Elvis was living as a single man. So I agree with Denzel. Elvis I'll go back further. Elvis in 1959 was seeing 3 or 4 different girls in Germany. Then when he moved over to back to America, he did the Frank Sinatra show. He was seeing different girls, Deborah Paget, Anita Wood, and Margaret and other girls. But he was single. This is the bit people don't accept. Elvis from 1959 till the day he got engaged in 1966 was single. So yes, he had different girlfriends, but he was single. It wasn't until he got engaged that he became faithful. And Elvis, in the time that she was pregnant, Priscilla, was faithful. This is the bit people don't understand. So you've got to remember, we're talking about a very religious Christian man, yeah? And he, during the pregnancy, was faithful. Now, 6 to 8 weeks after Lisa was born, Priscilla was unfaithful. You imagine how that made Elvis feel. The baby's born, Lisa Marie. Priscilla is unfaithful. She's admitted it in her book. She was in love with this guy, Steve Peck, the dance instructor. I could read the passage to you. It's very detailed. In fact, maybe I should. I'm trying to make a point that Elvis, after Elvis caught Priscilla being unfaithful, just after the baby was born, Lisa Marie, 10 months after the wedding, a period that Elvis was faithful, then yes, Elvis went back to his old ways. He did. Susan Henning, in 1968, he was seeing Susan Henning, a woman who had had a baby. So this lie that people say that Elvis wouldn't sleep with a woman that had a child is a lie. The next girl that he started seeing had had a baby. Yeah. So I do accept that after 1968, after March 1968, Elvis went back to his old ways. He would like different women. Susan Henning was one of the first. She was on the 68 comeback special. She was in Love a Little, Live a Little a bit as well. So what I'm trying to say to you, Denzel, with respect, is you have to break down each year. You have to go, right, this year that happened, that year that happened. Actually, even each month, even month by month, this month, that month, that month. Then you start to understand that Elvis lived as a single man till 1966. Then he lived, you off somewhere? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So they're not in tonight? Yeah. All right. You go more, yeah, just get me some of those lamb things. Yeah, just get me some of those lamb things.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 pork ribs, whatever. All right, just carry on, guys. So have fun, boys. Yeah, that's fine. So let me just read your comments. So, right. So let me just. I want to read a few of your comments because I think this is an important point. Yeah. This is why I've stopped and we're discussing Denzel's comments. Right, let's have a look. The one thing Elvis did was cheat on her. So like I said, Elvis was Elvis and not a husband. But my point is that when it comes to Priscilla, it wasn't straightforward because you say, Denzel, you say Elvis was Elvis and not a husband. I don't agree. I do not agree. And I'll tell you why. Because I think once they got married, Elvis was completely faithful. Honestly, I don't know of any woman that Elvis was seeing from the engagement, so December 66 till March 68 after Lisa was born. Not what. So as a husband, Elvis was faithful. But then this happens. Yeah, he catches Lisa Marie being unfaithful. He catches Priscilla being unfaithful with Lisa Marie. I'm actually gonna read the section for you. And then yes, I agree. From March onwards, after catching Priscilla being unfaithful with the dance instructor, the guy who owned the dance studio, Steve Peck, but in the book he's called Mark, Elvis goes back to his old ways. This is the point I'm trying to make. So I actually think Elvis, when he decided to commit to Priscilla under pressure, reluctantly, yeah, he was pressured into that marriage. Yeah, I think Elvis, when he decided to commit to Priscilla, he was faithful. I'm talking about once they got engaged, once she got pregnant, once they got married. Yeah. After that, when he catches her being unfaithful, he goes back to his old ways. That is my point. So he was a good husband until he caught her being unfaithful. The reason Elvis wouldn't sleep with Priscilla after the baby was born was because she had been with another man. Not because he wouldn't sleep with a pregnant woman or a woman that had with a woman that had a baby. Yeah, so I want to make a point of this because I don't want to just let it go, because I think it's something we have to discuss. So let me just keep going. Elvis was a dollar sign for Priscilla, just like he was on the Colonel. Let me show you. Right. Now, obviously, we're in my kitchen, guys. So you get the noise of the kitchen. Right, let's carry on. All right, you off? Bye, beautiful. Say hello to Team Elvis.
We're going to get my blue.
Okay, if they got any, yeah. All right, say hi, Team Elvis. Hello, this is Yasmin.
In my pocket.
Yasmin, how old are you? Say Happy New Year. What do you know? What year? Do you know what year it is?
2025.
Say it. 2025. Why are you talking quietly? She normally shouts. All right, okay. Right, go and have fun. Love you. Give me a kiss goodbye. Right, okay, shut the door behind you, please. Love you. Have a nice time. Right, let's keep going, guys. Prissy is like a leech. At least the leech falls off when it's had enough. Right, okay. Let's just carry on. I want to do this properly, this comment. We do know Elvis cheated, but I hope this does not make women upset. Elvis was different. It's like going to the grocery store that you have not eaten in days, and there is all this woman throwing themselves. Yes, but Denzel, the bit you're missing out is Priscilla was cheating. This is the bit you're missing out. Priscilla was cheating. Why did Elvis, after March in 1968, once he'd caught Priscilla being unfaithful just after the baby was born, Lisa, did then Elvis go on to be an unfaithful man? Yeah, because he caught his wife being unfaithful. More people need to say Priscilla was unfaithful. She does it again with Mike Stone, but by then the marriage is over anyway. Yeah, so it's not straightforward. Let's keep going. And some women in the pics. No man could be Elvis. God picked the right person, but we wasn't going to have him that long. Okay. I'm just trying to. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna try and go through these comments. Yeah. Right. So Josie, I can imagine what poor Lisa thought when she came across these old interviews of her lying mother. Yeah, Josie, you make a very good point. I love Elvis. He gets a pass, but we all love Elvis. We all love Elvis, but we're trying to get to the truth. What I'm trying to do is be fair. I'm trying to go, right, okay, you know, Elvis, when she first moved over to America, it couldn't have been very nice. Her hoping to one day be Elvis's only girl, his fiance, his wife, but she moved over in the hope. She never moved over knowing that he was going to marry her or get engaged to her. She moved over hoping that Elvis would settle down. She moved over with a rock and roll star that was the most famous, loved man in the world, a beautiful man that had many girlfriends, that was seeing his co-stars. She knew. So, right, let's keep going on the comments. No man could be Elvis picked the... Yeah, let's have a look. I try not to read the old the comments I've already read. I believe E's actions towards his daughter spoke louder to anyone. Elle knew he loved her. Right, Lisa, seen him as her everything, and Lisa need others to tell her about her daddy. Yeah. I mean, the connection between Elvis and Lisa is extremely special. Right. Lisa Marie used to get so upset to go back home to her mother that should tell you a lot about the woman. So I understand what you're saying, but you're saying, well, Priscilla lived at Graceland, Elvis didn't cheat. I don't believe that but I'm okay with him. He was Elvis. Well, right, let me just say that again. So you're saying that I said that, but you're saying while Priscilla lived at Graceland, Elvis didn't cheat. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when Priscilla moved to Graceland in 1963, you know, when she was nearly 18, Elvis was not her boyfriend. Elvis was seeing other women. Elvis was a single man. I'm saying that between 62 and 66, Elvis was a single man. Priscilla had moved over in the hope of getting Elvis to be settled, but it was obvious, and she's admitted it in some interviews, it was obvious that Elvis in between 62 and 66 was seeing other people. It was obvious, yeah, especially when he was doing the movies, yeah. And obviously in 62 to 66 he was doing 2 or 3 movies a year. It was clear that Elvis was seeing other people, but he wasn't with Priscilla. She wanted him to be with her. She wanted sole rights to Elvis. It wasn't until he got engaged. Once Elvis got engaged to Priscilla, yes, he tried to be faithful through the engagement, through the marriage, through the pregnancy, until Lisa was born. And then within months, Priscilla was unfaithful. So I find with Denzel's comments, Denzel, your comments, they're very much, oh, but Elvis was unfaithful. Elvis did this. Elvis did that. Elvis couldn't help it. What about Priscilla? What about Priscilla's wrongdoing? What about the people that Priscilla was unfaithful with? This is my point, yeah? And if you bring this book in, if you believe this book, there's a whole alternate truth as well. So it isn't straightforward. When people try and paint Elvis as the bad guy, the one who did everything wrong, yeah, blaming Elvis for everything, and they don't blame Priscilla for anything, my ears prick up and I'm like, that's not fair. That's not fair, because I actually think that Elvis was a victim of Priscilla, because I actually think that once Priscilla got married with Elvis and had Lisa, the things that she did wrong were extremely cruel to Elvis, and it just got worse and worse and worse. By the time we get to Mike Stone, the karate champion, which is the worst person that she could have ever picked to run off with, because Elvis was really in awe of the karate world. He really looked up to karate champions, yeah. Well, my point is, guys, that it was so humiliating for Elvis that Priscilla had chosen the karate guy to run off with and take her daughter, Elvis's daughter, away from her home, away from her dad, to go and live with a complete stranger, Mike Stone. Now remember, Priscilla was secretly seeing Mike Stone for a year behind Elvis's back. And remember, Frances Stone, Mike Stone's wife, was pregnant. Frances Stone also had a small girl, a girl 3 or 4 years old. So when Priscilla chose to have sex for a year secretly in 1971 with Mike Stone, yeah, behind Elvis's back, she did it in a way that broke up another family, Frances Stone, who was pregnant. So my point is, guys, it's very easy to go, oh, Elvis was shagging around, oh, he's out of order, poor Priscilla. No, Priscilla was shagging around. She did some serious damage after she got engaged, after she got married. Elvis, once he got married and engaged, was faithful until he caught her being unfaithful. So I want to just, I'm defending Elvis against Denzel's comments. I don't agree with Denzel's comments. Denzel, I don't agree with you. I think you have to understand everything that went on to be fair to Priscilla and to be fair to Elvis. Priscilla did some serious wrong stuff. to Elvis after they got engaged. Serious stuff. She also did some serious stuff to Frances Stone, who was pregnant. Remember, Priscilla demanded a divorce. When Priscilla was caught by having sex for a year with Mike Stone, when she was caught, she demanded a divorce. She didn't give Elvis a choice. She demanded a divorce. So who's at fault? Who's at fault? Priscilla for having a year-long sexual affair with Mike Stone, or Elvis? Who's at fault? So remember, Elvis did the right thing. Elvis promised that one day he may get engaged or married and have children with Priscilla. He fulfilled his promise. His promise, whoever it was to, whether it be to the parents of Priscilla, or to Colonel Tom Parker, or to Vernon, or to Priscilla, he fulfilled it. He got engaged. He had a very public marriage, a very public birth. Remember, the birth of Lisa Marie went round the world. Round the world. The whole world knew. The whole world bought into that birth. The marriage of Priscilla and Elvis went round the world. Yeah? So when Priscilla was unfaithful, sorry guys, when Priscilla was unfaithful just after the baby was born, could you imagine how that made Elvis feel? Elvis is there holding the baby, thousands of cameras in every tabloid in the world, every magazine in the world, every news clip in the world, with Priscilla stood by his side, holding the baby, and then within 6 to 8 weeks, she is sleeping with Steve Peck, the dance instructor, which means there's a possibility that she was seeing Steve Peck, the dance instructor, during the pregnancy. I repeat, there's a possibility that she, Priscilla, was seeing the dance instructor, Steve Peck, during the pregnancy. Yeah? Come on, guys. We got to be fair to Elvis here. We have to be fair. So, hi, Kate. How you going? So, well, I didn't mean he was not a husband. Elvis was not meant to be married. I'm okay that he cheated. I agree he was forced to marry her. Well, I still don't accept that comment, because you say you're okay that you're okay. Sorry, I got a bad throat. I'm okay that he cheated. How about Priscilla cheating? Can you give me Denzel? I want to do it to you, because you've put the comments here, so I'm going to debate them freely here with Team Elvis. How do you feel about Priscilla cheating 6 to 8 weeks after Lisa was born, 10 months after the wedding? Okay, Elvis, you're saying Elvis cheated. I disagree. I don't think Elvis cheated between 1966 December and March 68. I don't think Elvis cheated. Yeah, so I disagree with that. Right, let's have a look. Priscilla portrays herself as an innocent. Cary Grant helped her trap Elvis. He was the first to have an NDA, and she continued serving them to everyone. Chris, I know all about this. I know about the NDA. Thank you. Thank you. You are sharing something with Team Elvis that needs to be said. When we're defending Elvis against people that just blame everything on Elvis, we need truth. We need truth. I know about the NDA. Right, let's have a look. Okay, let me just go back, guys. Sorry, the comments do jump around a bit. I'm just trying to keep on top of them, guys. Okay, where are we? Right, okay, I'm just trying to get to the comments so I don't miss any. Right, there we go. Riley. Riley tread lightly in Lisa's book. She also said that there were tons of tapes. I think Riley has enough tapes for more books. Yes, people keep saying they want another book, don't they, guys? But that jumped forward a bit, because I want to... Right, here we go. I know where we are now. So Josie, wasn't Elvis away making movies when she came to stay at Graceland? Yes, but he would come and go. He had a converted bus and he would come and go. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I still will say he was pressured to marry her. Yep, I definitely think he was pressured to marry her. He never should have married her. I agree with that. Definitely should not have married her, 100%. The gift of hindsight. Elvis was, I do agree with you on Elvis stopped sleeping with her because she was with another man. And you do make sense. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And come on, no man. Denzel, no man is going to sleep with a woman. If my wife had sex with a man 2 months after our baby was born, we wouldn't be together. We wouldn't be together. The way Priscilla was unfaithful was extreme. It is very unusual for a woman to be unfaithful to a man just after a baby is born. Very unusual. Remember, when you read the book, and I am going to read it, when you read this book, she doesn't just say that about what they got up to. She makes it clear that she was starting to fall in love with this man. She really liked this man. She was thinking about Steve Peck while she was at home with Elvis and Lisa. Yeah, you think about it. 6 to 8 weeks after the birth of Lisa, 10 months after the wedding, they've got a beautiful home. Yeah, Elvis and Priscilla and the baby are all happy at home. And secretly, she is sleeping with Steve Peck, the dance instructor. It ain't right, guys. It's as bad as it gets. It's as bad. You won't get any worse than a woman sleeping with another man just after a baby's born, just after a wedding, a world-famous wedding, a world-famous birth. And then she does it all again with Steve Peck. I mean, with Mike Stone. But look at the circumstances of Mike Stone. His wife is pregnant. They've got a small girl as well. They're married. Come on. This is different. Elvis wouldn't do things like that. There's no way that Elvis would have done things to the extreme that Priscilla did. The way Priscilla did it was very extreme. Now, Elvis, when he got older, you know, from Linda Thompson onwards, and he's seeing different ladies, yeah, that's completely different than sleeping with someone just after you've got married, just after you've had a baby. Yeah, even Elvis in the early 60s, he was still in his 20s. He moved back to Graceland after serving in the military in Germany. So he moves back in 1960. Yeah, he's got loads of different girlfriends, but he's a man in his 20s. He's not engaged. He's not married. He hasn't had a baby. So what's wrong with that? What is wrong with Elvis coming back in 1960 to Graceland, to Memphis, and having different girlfriends, seeing different co-stars? There is nothing wrong with that. But yes, in the mix, Priscilla has aspirations to get Elvis, to hook Elvis, to trap Elvis. Yeah, that is in the mix. Elvis was not being unfaithful to Priscilla between 1960 and 66 because he wasn't with her. She was one of the girls he was seeing. She was one of the girls he was seeing. He was seeing many girls, and she knew it. Priscilla knew he was with other girls. So no, I see it differently. The more research people do, the better. That's what I say. Wouldn't be surprised if Prissy was cheating with Jerry way back then. Well, that's come out as well. Josie, that's a good point. There are rumors that Priscilla was also seeing Jerry. And I've also heard about a singer, a black singer. Is it, what's his name? Something Lowman. Do any of you know the coloured guy? I don't like using the word black or coloured. I don't like it. But he was a black singer. Does anyone know the name? And she had a crush on him, and she would go to all of his concerts. And this was in the 60s. Yeah. There's more to it. Priscilla is not the angel everyone thinks she is. Anyone that has fallen for the fairy tale, she is not the sweet innocent virgin that everyone thinks she was. This image of a perfect Elvis and Priscilla is fake. It's fake. Priscilla was not a sweet innocent girl. She was not a sweet innocent girl. This is the lie that everyone has been tricked into believing. Spoon-fed lies. That's what I say. So Priscilla was not innocent at all. She also was not a prisoner. She went out shopping all the time with friends. Elvis loved Lisa. He didn't do anything to upset. Thank you, Elizabeth. When Priscilla gives the impression in interviews that she was locked in Graceland, in a dungeon, she felt suffocated, it's bullshit. It is so bullshit. Why did the public fall for it? Why did anyone believe it? I really think that the public were really bamboozled. When this book came out and the public believed this book, they believed every word of it. Why were the public so gullible? Why were the public so gullible? And what makes it even worse, yeah, is that the movies did it as well. So you got the Kurt Russell film, you got the TV melodrama, and then you've got my point is then you've got all the interviewers around the world, all the different news companies, all saying the same thing. They're all saying the stuff that is in this book. This book is treated like history, even though Elvis had nothing to do with this book. This book was written by a divorcee. This book was written by a woman that demanded a divorce. Demanded a divorce. Yeah? You get it, guys? Elvis had nothing to do with this book. He'd been dead for years. 7 years. This book was written by a woman that divorced Elvis 4 years before he died. Priscilla is treated like his wife. She was not his wife. They split up. When Elvis died, they split up. She was not his wife. Elvis is not the love of Priscilla's life. She is not the love of Priscilla's life. It is another lie. Anyone that thinks that Elvis is the love of Priscilla's life, you need to do some research, big time. Right, Elvis was pressured to marry the Colonel. It's time that it was changed the image. She was writing Elvis pink envelope so would know it was her. Yep, we know about this. Now remember, Priscilla had a plan. Priscilla had a plan, but Elvis was busy. He was doing his own thing. This is, you know, the public have been tricked, guys, and they've been tricked for 50 years. And this is why people will jump in, because I personally think Denzel's comment blames Elvis for everything. No offense, Denzel. You're not right about Elvis and Priscilla. And we are trying to help you. We're trying to help you as Team Elvis to know the facts, to understand the truth, to break down each month of Elvis's life, Priscilla's life, and understand the wrongdoing of Priscilla, that Elvis was the victim, not Priscilla. Anybody that thinks Elvis was a pedophile, you are wrong. You are wrong. It is bullshit. Right. I seen an interview where he was talking about her and he just said, Priscilla knows. Right. Priscilla pursued Stone. She was asking Elvis to pay for her to decorate, and Stone were cohabiting. And we know that Priscilla pursued Mike Stone because he said it in his interview a few months ago. Mike Stone has done recent interviews admitting that Priscilla pursued him. Mike Stone also said that Priscilla told him clearly that she wanted a divorce, that once she made a decision to go off with Mike Stone, she was going to divorce whether Elvis liked it or not. Mike Stone has also said that Priscilla was very ambitious, wanted to be an actress, wanted to be in the spotlight, wanted to be a model, wanted to be in business. She was a very career-minded person, and she put herself before Lisa. Priscilla put herself and her ambitions before Lisa, her child. You got to watch these Mike Stone interviews, guys. They're very interesting. He's quite honest. I think there's one particular channel. I think it's called, what's it called? Elvis the Ultimate Fan, is it? Elvis the Ultimate Channel. His interview with Mike Stone is very telling. Very telling. There's two out there. There's two very good interviews with Mike Stone that say everything. Colonel saw a kindred, greedy spirit in Prissy, pliable, everything having a nice price. Anita was a, yeah, we all love Anita, come on. I didn't know about the dance instructor. It's Denzel, it's okay. It's okay, because people come on here, they're quite new. They haven't done the kind of research that we've all done, yeah? Now, I'm going to read the dance instructor section on this book. I think I have to. We're going to do the second half of that interview another time because we're running out of time. Yeah. So look, I'm saying this to the Priscilla fans out there. Watch some of our live streams. Understand what went on. I invite the Priscilla fans to understand the truth. I invite you. Even people that are watching now that feel that Elvis was in the wrong and Priscilla was a victim. Watch our live streams, understand the truth. Yeah. So I'll read these few comments, then I'm going to read that section on the book, then I'm going to have to go. Let's have a look. Denzel says, I didn't mean Elvis was wrong. I love Elvis and I will defend him till I die. And I agree with you. I know, Denzel, I know that. Yeah, I know that. But what it is, we here at Team Elvis are helping people understand the truth, yeah, so that they then can make, no, then they can have a, how can I say it? So then their opinion of Elvis is closer to the truth. It's closer to the truth. So I'm going to read this for Denzel. Now, Denzel, I got no bad feeling. The whole point of this discussion is so that people understand that Elvis was a victim. Elvis was a victim. Priscilla was capable of some very cruel things. And if you look at Priscilla's life, from the moment she had sex with Steve Peck, the dance instructor, then Mike Stone, the karate champion, then the way she treated Elvis financially with the 2 divorce settlements, and then after Elvis died, the way that she took over everything when Vernon died, and then she lied about saving Graceland. She lied about that it was her idea to launch the museum because it was not her idea. Then she carries on lying to her daughter, Lisa. She squanders Elvis's money. She spends 30, 40 years repeating lies about Elvis. And then eventually when Lisa Marie passes away, she goes against her own daughter's wishes. Lisa wanted her children to have her stuff, Gracelands. Priscilla contests it. And then, even then, she's demanding $1 million from Riley. She's demanding that Riley and the twins pay her $400,000 legal fees, and she wants $100,000 a year, yeah, for being an advisor to Graceland. This is money coming out of her grandchildren's pocket. Then we look at the way that Priscilla is treating this book like it never happened, even laughing at her daughter saying, I love her to death. Priscilla is going around the world promoting herself for cash and money, and has done it even just after Lisa Marie died. Soon after Lisa Marie died, Priscilla was out there promoting herself. And then you've got the Graceland book signing event where Priscilla storms in and uses it as an opportunity to slag off Lisa, her daughter, in front of her grandchild. You get it? Priscilla is capable of some pretty cold stuff, some pretty brutal stuff. So we have to get the big picture. Elvis was the victim. Elvis was the victim. Right, I'm going to read page 262. I'm reading this for Denzel, but I'm not reading it to be nasty. I'm reading it because if other people watch this live stream, I think they should know. I think they should know that Elvis was the victim. Page 262. Now remember, she talks about dancing. Replace dancing with sex. When I read this, replace dancing with sex. So when I go blah, 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 dancing, blah, 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 lesson, think about sex. Now this is her admitting the affair, okay? This is about 6 to 8 weeks after Lisa Marie was born, okay? 10 months after Elvis married Priscilla. Right. Now, she started having dance lessons. Now, remember, she would have been having these dance lessons for how long? We don't know how long. So there's a possibility that they were seeing each other before Lisa was born, before Lisa Marie was born. We don't really know, do we? Right. He said I had the potential to be a good dancer, and he pushed me to the limit. Out of frustration and pain, I would want to quit. Demanding that I continue, he told me I was building character and forced me to repeat the same routine until it was nearly perfected. This made me realize that I could go further than I'd ever dreamed. Remember, we're replacing it with sex. And you'll understand why when we get to the end. He believed in me, and I was accomplishing something for the first time. I was creating, feeling good about myself, and I couldn't wait to get to a class each day. Remember, she is at home, living with Elvis. They've just had a baby. The baby's a few months old. They've only been married 10 months, maybe 11 months. Yeah? I couldn't wait to get to class each day. Mark, she calls him Mark, is a pseudo name, yeah? Mark was charismatic, and I was particularly vulnerable in lieu of a passionate marriage. Dance was becoming my life. I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with it. Remember, sex, not dance. Taking all my frustrations and feelings into the studio, I found myself thinking about Mark even when I was home. I repeat, this is Priscilla's book, her words. Let's just get it again. In lieu of a passionate marriage, dance was becoming my life. I was obsessed with it, taking all my frustrations and feelings into the studio. I found myself thinking about Mark even when I was home. I had only seen him a few times in my life, and yet I was unable to get him out of my mind. Remember, unable to get him out of my mind. She's living with Elvis. How old is she? 24, 25? How old is she? I don't even know. Maybe younger. 22, 23? I was actually, no, she's probably about 23 years old, yeah? I found myself thinking about Mark even when I was home with Elvis, with my baby. So when she sat with Elvis, with her baby Lisa Marie in their beautiful home, she's thinking about Mark, not Elvis. I had only seen him a few times in my life, and yet I was unable to get him out of my mind. This is a married woman, just had a baby. Come on, when you have a baby, Elvis really went out of his way to spend as much time as he could with Priscilla through the pregnancy. He would race home from the movie sets in his converted bus to be with Priscilla because she was pregnant. Elvis was very, very excited that Priscilla was pregnant. He couldn't believe it. He was so pleased. He couldn't wait. So you think what it's like. I don't know how many people here have had a baby. Most of us, yeah? Even grandkids, great-grandkids. Think about it. A 23-year-old woman. Elvis would have been, what? How old's Elvis at this point? Mid to late 20s? Could you imagine how romantic and beautiful it is that Priscilla and Elvis are pregnant, excited, looking forward to the birth of Lisa Marie? They would have spent a fortune creating a nursery, making everything perfect for the birth of Lisa Marie. Elvis, they would have been living in luxury. Priscilla would have had a carefree life, an easy life. Yeah? Elvis has finally married her. Elvis has finally got her pregnant. He's fulfilled all his promises. Yeah? And on top of that, he's a workaholic. He's doing the movies. He's doing 3 movies a year to pay the bills, to pay for the staff, to pay for the lifestyle. Elvis had given Priscilla everything. Yeah? Remember, Priscilla came from a very poor background. She was living in Germany with her Air Force parents in a normal home. She moved from normal home to absolute luxury, living with the most famous man on the planet. Everything she could ever want, she was given, including Elvis and a baby and a marriage and an engagement. Get it? She was completely free. She had her own car. From 17 years old, Elvis bought her a car. Right, let's go. I found myself thinking about Mark even when I was home. I had only seen him a few times in my life, and yet I was unable to get him out of my mind. I rationalized, telling myself it was because he was always there for me. He seemed to understand me. And while the man I truly loved was involved in his own world, making movies, because he had a career, yeah, I began to relax, enjoying myself almost against my will. This is the sex part. Enjoying myself almost against my will. It had been a while since I had spent some time with a man who validated my abilities. Sex. Who validated my abilities and appreciated spending time with me alone. It was also the first time I was not competing for my own identity. This was a high I had not experienced recently. Sex. This was a high I had not experienced recently. I had a brief affair and decided to end it. I had a brief affair and decided to end it. So Priscilla, even in this book, she tries to move on to the next part of the book with how many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words. I had a brief affair and decided to end it. Now, how is that fair to Elvis? How is that fair to Elvis? That he had engaged with her, he had married her, this public marriage that went around the world, public birth, bought her a beautiful home, did everything for her. He was working his ass off to pay for everything. And her thanks was to shag the dance instructor. Come on, guys. And people blame Elvis. People blame Elvis. It's so unfair. Okay, guys. So I think I've made my point. We learn together. We learn together. Yeah? Team Elvis, we learn together. People joining us here at Team Elvis, when you bring up comments, when you bring up comments that I think are unfair to Elvis, I'm going to defend him. We're called Defending Elvis. But I'm trying to do it in a way where we're educating each other, where we're all learning. Yeah? Because there are people that are joining us that don't know the whole story. I find that quite sickening, that book. I find it so upsetting. I imagine Elvis sat in his house with his with his wife that has just given birth to a baby, and that all going on. Someone's at the door. 1 minute, guys. I'm expecting delivery. Okay, that's fine. Just on the live. Right, don't worry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to read the rest of the comments, and it's been a long live stream, isn't it, guys? I mean, hour and a half. Happy New Year to anyone. Quite a serious live stream, but I don't mind because I'm defending Elvis, so I don't care if we have to get serious. Let's have a look, guys. Let's read these comments. Okay. Right, here we go. So let's start from here. Everyone's gone out, guys, so I've got time to go through this. So seriously, Happy New Year, guys. 2025. He eventually wanted to Josie. He eventually wanted to marry and have a family. Elvis, he just chose the worst woman to settle down with and the worst mother to choose. Yep, fully agree with that. Yeah, Kate, I don't agree with cheating. 100% I don't agree with cheating, but the circumstances are complicated with Priscilla and Elvis. But I definitely don't agree with cheating. I would never cheat on my wife. I've been with my wife 19 years. I wouldn't even think of it. Right. I still think Lisa would have had more to say if it wasn't all put in the book. Right, let's have a look. Priscilla was a cheater and she didn't do nothing about Lisa being molested. That's it, Denzel. Now we're on the same page. Of course, we keep bringing up that we must defend Lisa against her words. Michael Edwards sexually abused her when she was a child. So we believe Lisa. We know it's alleged. We have to say it's alleged. We have to say it's entertainment purposes, opinions. We believe it. And we want justice for Lisa Marie. We want Michael Edwards arrested. We want Priscilla questioned. We want Priscilla was responsible just like Michael Edwards because she was the mum. She was there to protect Lisa. She didn't protect her. Some say that she even turned a blind eye to what was happening. Some say that. She needs to be questioned, but Michael Edwards should be in a prison. Just my opinion for entertainment purposes. So yes, so I agree with that, Denzel. Thank you. I don't see how it's even possible. When my babies were born, I was so in love with them and they all yeah, Carolyn, I agree. I don't get it. I remember exactly how I felt through the pregnancies of I've got 5 kids with my wife. Through the pregnancies, at the birth, and I was a very hands-on dad, so I did all the nappy changing as well. Yeah. And I tell you now, it was a very special time. Every child me and my wife had, the first year was very special, very special. This is why it drives me mad that Priscilla has had a baby with Elvis Presley, and the lifestyle she was having, living in luxury with the most beautiful man on the planet, and her thanks is to shag the dance instructor. Come on, where's the self-control? There's a poor little baby at stake. Poor little Lisa Marie. That big, and she's bonking the dance instructor. Come on, guys. That alone should tell you her character, what she's capable of. And Elvis is the person that has to pick up the pieces. Because remember, when Elvis finds out, he goes crazy, but he keeps it quiet because he doesn't want the world to know that his wife, who he's only just married, that is having sex with a bloke when they've just had a baby. Elvis had to go through that. Imagine how Elvis felt. Imagine how it felt in those first 4, 5, 6 months when Elvis found out that Priscilla was shagging a man just after the baby was born, Lisa Marie Presley. Could you imagine it? You never will get over that. No man on this planet will ever get over his wife shagging a man months after the baby's born, in less than a year after the marriage, a public marriage. Elvis didn't want to face the world and go, I'm sorry, world, me and Priscilla are splitting up because she shagged the dance instructor 3 months after the baby was born. Elvis didn't want to do that. Elvis tried to keep things together because he was humiliated. And he was a Christian man as well. Remember, a good Christian man that believed that marriage was forever. Elvis didn't want a divorce. Remember that. Even with Mike Stone, Elvis didn't want a divorce. Priscilla demanded the divorce. She didn't give Elvis a choice. So anyway, I'm going on, aren't I, guys? The worst thing that she did, Lisa suffered, and Priscilla did nothing. What would Elvis have done if he was alive? Yeah, he would have killed him. Many have said that. His parents were in on it and they wanted her to marry him. Yep, I think it's very possible. You know, I'm not going to say that this book's definitely truth, but this is another opinion. It is possible that it's truth. They even say that there was proper witness sort of type statements done for this book. So not everything in that book is good, guys. There are some pretty crap things in that book as well. But the bit I like about that book is where it exposes Priscilla's dark side when she was a teenager. She was not the sweet, innocent girl that everyone thought she was. So, Kate, one would think you would be totally in love with your newborn, gorgeous, attentive new husband who was besotted with his daughter. She should have been in seventh heaven. It doesn't make sense. Thank you, Kate. My favorite comment today. You're amazing. No, it wasn't Sam Cooke. It was a different guy. I can't remember his name. Some of you know. If Linda was here, she would tell me. Let's have. Oh, Linda, I've forgotten to message you to say we're live. Right. Priscilla had a boyfriend in Germany, was made to leave him. Yeah, that's what it says in the book, Child Bride. Yeah, and I've read all about that. Chris, I guess Elvis got carried away and wasn't thinking. In my opinion, Riley was very careful what she said in her book for being sued by her grandmother. Well, yes, Pat, but you say careful, but she did put in there that she was sexually abused, didn't she? She also put in there that Priscilla was a crap parent and made her feel unloved. So that's quite a big thing to put in, isn't it? Yeah, to say that she was abused. So I don't see that as being careful, but right. So Elvis said Lisa is in love with my life. Priscilla looked horrified. She thought she hated Lisa ever since. I definitely do think there's something seriously wrong in the friendship between Priscilla and Lisa. There's something very wrong. I've watched a lot of these old interviews, and I really do believe that Priscilla tricked and lied to Lisa about many things, including business things, including Elvis as a human being. I personally think Priscilla brainwashed Lisa, and Lisa fell for it, especially when she was young. And I think that's part of the reason that Lisa went along with the selling of Graceland. You know, Graceland's 85% was sold. Elvis Presley Enterprises sold off to Bill Silliman. Yeah. Well, I've always thought that Priscilla tricked Lisa into that. I've always thought that. It should never have happened. Elvis Presley Enterprises should never have been sold off, ever. Graceland should never have been rented to Elvis Presley Enterprises. I don't know how many of you know this. Graceland is rented to Elvis Presley Enterprises. I know that Riley owns the building, but I've always thought Priscilla had a hand in that. Remember, she was given 6 or 7 million by Bill Silliman just for the name Presley and the name Graceland. So Priscilla has always had a lot of backhanders, a lot of large amount of monies. When the sale of Elvis Presley Enterprises happened and 85% of it was sold, Priscilla got a big backhander, Obviously, just my opinion for entertainment purposes. But there's some serious wrongdoing that's gone on, guys, and it's still going on today as we speak. Many of you know that she didn't like Memphis. You'll see Priscilla in an interview sit there and go, oh, yes, you know, I love Memphis. I love the Memphis people. They're so lovely. Memphis is so beautiful. Oh, it's so nice here. Bullshit. She doesn't like it there. She doesn't like it there. It's all bullshit. She wanted to be in LA and California. Don't fall for it. Just imagine if he had gotten custody of Lisa, she would have been interfered with by the boy. She might still be here today. Finola, I agree. The best parent for Lisa was Elvis. Elvis should have got custody of Lisa. I think he would have lived a lot longer. It seriously damaged Elvis. Lisa being dragged away from her father by Priscilla and Michael Stone. It did some serious damage to Elvis. It really did. So great words, Finola. So yeah, Kate agrees with you. I didn't mean Elvis was wrong. I love Elvis. I would defend him until the day I die. I agree with you. Thank you, Denzel. I hope together we've helped you understand better. That's all. Denzel, you're very welcome here. You're very welcome. Nothing against you, Denzel. Right, he was blackmailed to marry her, so I didn't say it was Elvis' fault. I did. Okay, Denzel, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. No hard feelings. We're just doing our thing here, defending Elvis. We know, Denzel, don't take offense. It's just a friendly debate. That's it. Denzel, friendly debate, no hard feelings. If anything, we're all helping each other, aren't we? Elvis, the Ultimate Fan channel. I'm a member of that channel. I mentioned you on that. Yeah, thank you, Vincenzo. Well, Vincenzo, his interview with Mike Stone actually said a lot. It's worth watching. I do think that he was a bit too nice to him. Yeah, I forget his name. Is it Rick? I can't remember his name. I do think he was a bit too nice to Mike Stone, a bit soft on him. But that interview, we did find out a lot of information. So if you guys want to watch Mike Stone being interviewed, there's a couple of very good interviews on YouTube with Mike Stone in the last 3 years. Mike Stone is actually very honest. I just wish Mike Stone would apologize and show regret. Mike Stone does not apologize. He does not show regret. It's a real shame. I think he should. I think the fans would respect that. But I do think Mike Stone was used by Priscilla. I think Mike Stone was toyed with by Priscilla and dropped like a rock. When Priscilla had had her use of Mike Stone, she dropped him and moved on to the next victim. Elvis victim number 1. Steve Peck, number 2, victim. Mike Stone, number 3, victim. Who was the next victim? Yeah? Was it Robert Kardashian? Was it Michael Edwards? All victims, but Michael Edwards, unfortunately, was a sick man. So that's another story, isn't it, guys? Priscilla was never a mother to Lisa, but if you see the pictures of Priscilla and Navarone, it says everything. My God, I tell you what, Navarone's live stream came up on my Instagram today. I couldn't believe it. He's lying in bed, like, I don't know what he's doing, talking to a bunch of, yeah, it was very strange. Yeah. Anyway, so, I mean, I turned it off straight away. But anyway, so let's have a look. You know, even we haven't really mentioned it, but even the Scientology thing where Lisa is thrown into Scientology, even the fact that Priscilla goes into Scientology, it's just crazy, isn't it, guys? Because Priscilla knew that Elvis was completely against Scientology, that Elvis had visited them and thought they were a bunch of weirdos after his money. She didn't care. She puts her daughter in there. Okay, guys, we're coming to an end now because we've been here for nearly 2 hours, which I can't believe. So I still say that she's going to try and get Graceland back, but Riley is too smart for her. Yeah, I mean, I personally, Pat, I just think Priscilla now, her glory days are behind her. Her glory days are behind her. There's no getting Graceland back now. It's not happening. I just think don't give her too much credit. She doesn't deserve it for a start. But nah, I don't think so. I do think this lawsuit with Bridget Cruz is much more complicated than people realize. I think there may be wrongdoing that we don't know about. So I think we have to watch with the Bridget Cruz lawsuit with Priscilla. I think watch this space, because I think we're going to find out some quite shocking details. But before I start saying too much, let's see how it unfolds. I know, obviously, we know Shauna on Tenderly Loving Elvis is going to discuss it tomorrow. So we've got Prissy had lots of boyfriends, rough types. Her mother pushed Elvis. They had no money. Let a 14-year-old date E for her to hook him. Cary Grant helped her. He can't talk. Well, I will just say this, Chris. A 14-year-old did not date Elvis. A 14-year-old met Elvis briefly. Then Elvis went back to Germany. The next time she saw him, she was 17. So a 14-year-old never dated Elvis. So I have to disagree with that one comment. But I know what you're trying to say. I heard that Joel had filed suit against Bridget over stolen property. Yeah, I've done, Deborah. I've already done a live stream on this on the last hour. So before this one, we're going to keep an eye on it, Deborah. We're going to keep an eye on it. So Josie says, I hope Curry outlives her so he can tell us. Pat, Chris, you're right. Elvis was a money maker for them. He sure was. I was at the candlelight vigil in 2022 when Priscilla was talking to the crowd. She said, happy birthday to Elvis. Yeah, I remember that. I watched it on the news. Yeah. So I'd love to go to a candlelight vigil. I'd love to. So Denzel, does that mean you live in Memphis? Do you live in Memphis? Or did you watch it on TV? Let's have a look. No, you're actually there. It says here you're actually there. So do you live in Memphis? Yeah, there was lawyers with Priscilla when it was 4 companies, but quite a lot of contracts with Bridget Cruz and Priscilla. Obviously, anyone, in case you've joined us, Bridget Cruz has joined our show many times to discuss things with us. She can't really talk about the lawsuit, but she spoke about many other things. She does hint that there's a secret grandchild. I'm not sure if I believe it, but so Josie, she wanted karate lessons, then pursued Stone, and wanted dancing lessons and pursued Steve Peck. Yeah, it's a pattern, isn't it, Josie? It's a pattern. Chris is doing the same to Riley as she did to Lisa. Riley has to get tougher with her, and Chris will eat Riley for lunch. Riley can't let Chris really know. Well, I actually don't agree. I actually think Riley's been quite clever. I actually think she's paid Priscilla off. Priscilla's had her $1 million. She's had her legal fees paid. She's got $100,000 a year advisory payments, advisor to Graceland, whatever it is. But now she's out of it. Priscilla is out of the picture now. Yeah, even if she gets $100,000 a year for an advisory position, it's nothing. It's a small fry. So I actually think Riley has been pretty smart. I think Riley did the right thing agreeing to Priscilla's terms, because Priscilla's gone now. You will almost never see Priscilla at Gracelands now. I don't think she was wanted when she stormed in on the Graceland book signing event with the book From Here to the Great Unknown. I don't think anyone wanted her there. You won't see Priscilla at Graceland very often. Will she be at Graceland on Elvis's 90th birthday? I think it is possible. I think 50-50, she could be there. She could be there. But you won't see her there that often. I think Riley has got rid of Priscilla. Priscilla has no power now. She's not an executor anymore. The power is with Riley now, and then the twins will inherit. Obviously, Elvis Presley Enterprises have 85% of everything, basically, and they still do rent Graceland. So But no, I think Priscilla's day of power are over. That is my opinion. All right. So, oh yeah. So Deborah watched it as well. The birthday cake was frozen. Yes, it was far. Yeah, I read, Deborah, I've read it out on the last live stream. I read the whole thing out, and I think Shauna's going to cover it tonight or tomorrow. Tonight or tomorrow, Shauna at Tenderly Loving Elvis. So that'll be interesting. Definitely go over and watch that. We love Shauna at Tenderly Loving Elvis, don't we? I'm sure Rhonda will cover it as well. At Presley Mania, she'll cover it. Lou, I think Prissy says when Elvis was making the movie Live a Little, Love a Little, October 68. Yeah, no, because that at that point, Elvis has started to see Susan Henning, hasn't he? That's when he meets her. And then he sees her again on the 68 comeback. I surrendered, laugh out loud. I mean, this is a good way. I said it wrong. I promise I won't say Elvis cheated, laugh out loud now. I am saying this in a good way. Don't worry, Denzel. Don't worry. At least now we're understanding all the. I always say to people, understand each year. Yeah, know what happened. So the engagement, the marriage, the birth. Yeah, the time at Graceland when after Elvis came back from Germany. That period where Elvis lived as a single man. So yes, he had lots of girlfriends. That doesn't mean he's a cheat. It means he had lots of girlfriends. After Priscilla was unfaithful, he then goes on to have lots of girlfriends. You see what I mean? You have to break down the years and to understand. The real cheat is Priscilla. The real cheat, because she did cheat in the marriage. In the marriage. Right. I don't think Prissy ever grew up in my mind. Well, she's had it too easy, Josie. I think that's a good comment. She's just had it too easy. Yeah, everything was given to her. Literally the life of royalty. And like Piers Morgan says, the life of the Kennedys. She has had tens of millions of pounds thrown at her all her life. All her life. She's had an unbelievable life because of Elvis. Because of Elvis. So with the Bridget stuff, I think we need a different show for that. We're going to do a part 2. She was 22 when Lisa Marie was born in February. Yeah, so she was only 22 when she was unfaithful to Elvis. Thanks, Vincenzo. Elvis was 33 when Lisa Marie was born. Well, that's older than I thought. I thought he was a bit younger than that, but okay. 10 years gap makes sense. She was accomplishing something for the first time in her life. That says it all for me. This is me reading the book, isn't it? She has just married the love of her life and given birth to their children. Come on. Uh, 2022, 2024, I had tickets for 2023, but my brother got sick and Graceland saved my ticket for the next year, and I met Billy and Joe at the hotel for a Q&A. Well, we're all fans of Billy and Joe here. We know they're having a bit of a tough time. We fully support Billy and Joe here. Yeah, Caroline, I agree. That tells you right that she didn't love Elvis. Josie, Prissy says that she got a dance lesson from Steve Peck in October 68, but she took him to the 68 comeback special, which was filmed in June 68. Yeah, so the dates are a bit all over the place. Well, I'll be honest with you, we're not clear on the dates, but what we are clear on is that she admitted it. She admitted it. Chris was active before Elvis with several boys in Germany. Yep. Chris. She sure was. She had a reputation. I've read it all. We have read quite a few chapters of that book. Let's have a look. Priscilla didn't want Lisa at first. She told Lisa that. Yeah, and I've heard about this and her trying to lose her horse riding, falling down the stairs. She didn't like the thought that she was going to put on weight and then she couldn't be with Elvis when he went off to make his movies. She didn't like it. And then even when he started doing the Vegas years, you know, after the '68 comeback, when he started doing the Vegas years, she felt like having Lisa trapped her at home. So I get it. I understand, but still don't agree with it. So Baroness says that she thinks she's unstable. Maybe. How are you, Baroness? Okay. So Vicky, she did. And when he died, Elvis was pretty much a broken man. If Elvis was forced to accept Priscilla, I don't think it's fair to say he was cheating. He was a young man. Yes, I keep saying this. Between 1960 and 1966, he was single. He lived a normal life, a film star, a pop star, a rock and roll legend, the most beautiful man in the world. He just came back from the army. He briefly met Priscilla. He had other girlfriends in Germany. Yeah, he came back, did the Frank Sinatra show, made GI Blues, and had fun. Wasn't unfaithful because he had loads of girlfriends. People don't realize that. When people keep saying that Elvis and Priscilla were together for 8 years before they got married, it's a lie. Elvis and Priscilla were not together for 8 years before they got married. It's bullshit. She didn't see him for 2 years of it. When she did move over, it was just visiting. When she finally moved in with Vernon and Dee, yeah, she knew that Elvis was living life as a single man. So Elvis carried on seeing other people until he got engaged. And then everything changed. And she blew that by being unfaithful. Okay, so yeah. So there's 56 of you watching. Happy New Year to the 56 people that are watching. We're all around the world here, guys. And if anybody wants to join in, we're going to wrap things up soon. If anyone wants to join in and ask any questions, please go ahead now before I go. So, yes, and after she had a fight with Mike Stone, she asked Elvis if she could come back. Elvis said no. That is the answer about her being buried there. Yeah, so 100% Priscilla has lost the right to be buried next to Elvis. 100%. The minute she was unfaithful with Steve Peck, she lost the right to be buried next to Elvis. And this ridiculous thing that she keeps repeating again and again, that she is the love of Elvis's life, is a joke. Does anyone seriously believe that Elvis is the love of her life? Come on. It's okay, Baroness. My opinion, Priscilla has always wanted her own platform. Yeah. She wanted to be the queen. She wants to be Elvis. Tonya, I agree. She wants to be Elvis. So Vicky, Priscilla was pursuing Mike Stone. She pretended to fall his way. Yeah, I've read it. I've seen the interview. I've seen the interview, Vicky. She's very manipulative. I agree. Hi, Stacey. Priscilla is doing talks in the city of Memphis. I think she's trying to get the 7th grave force Riley into letting her be buried there. The only thing to stop that would be the fans' right to Memphis. Yeah, I know a lot of people do right to Memphis. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Who knows? I know the fans don't want it. Unless you're a Priscilla fan, you don't want it. The fans don't feel that she deserves to be buried there. Tracy in Southampton. Yo, Tracy. I'm in Weston-super-Mare, UK. Priscilla Bueller is not a nice person. She's ashamed. Elvis and Lisa still using them. Riley did so good by finishing the book. And yeah, and I keep saying this to the people that think that Riley does not defend her her mother and grandfather. Yes, she does. She finished this book. She kept all the horrible allegations in the book. She promoted this book. She did a book tour. When Lisa died, Riley made this her priority, finishing the book. Finishing the book. So Riley does defend her mother and her grandfather. I'm a massive Riley fan. Steve Francis is the name of the guy from Elvis, the Ultimate Fan. Okay, thank you. I always forget. I've seen Steve. He gets quite passionate about the Lucy book, doesn't he? I've seen him on his comments arguing with Dari. He's not afraid to speak his mind. It's okay, Tanya. Happy 2020. Thanks for all you do for Elvis's memory. He has never forgotten. Tracy, we love it. Team Elvis, we love it. She always says he's the love of my life. I know, it's so funny. Vicky, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But portrays him badly and contradicts herself. Some love, that is. Come on. You don't need much common sense to know that. I laugh when she says it. That Elvis is not the love of Priscilla's life. Come on, guys. She divorced him in 1972, really. She actually it was before then, because the official divorce was 73. She was seeing Mike Stone for a year in 1971. So the marriage ended 1970. The marriage ended in 1970. They got married in 67 in May. In 68 in March, she was being unfaithful. There was no marriage. The marriage was like that big. There was no marriage. But she'll say that she was married to him, no, that she was with him from 14 till they divorced in 73. So you work out 14 years. Priscilla will say that Elvis and her were together for 14 years. It's an absolute joke. When the truth is they were together for about 2. So for me, Priscilla may have been freaked out at being pregnant, but after much thought, I believe she realized it may not be a bad thing. I see your point, Kate. Tonya, Priscilla Bueller even thinks she got more applause than Riley. Yeah, I saw it when she came to interfere about the book. She didn't even read. Now, people have got different views about the book signing event that Priscilla attended. There's many people that think Riley knew it was going to happen, that it was all pre-planned. I don't think so. I do think Riley was half expecting it. I do think that Graceland thought that she may walk in on the stage, but I also think they were hoping that she wouldn't. I believe that Riley and Joel and Jack were hoping that she wouldn't go on stage, but she did. No one was going to stop her. It's Priscilla Presley. Come on. Who's going to stop Priscilla Presley walking into the Graceland function room? Yeah, no one was going to stop her. Come on. And Riley does look very surprised. And Nicole Richie also looks very surprised. So to the people that don't like Riley, because there's plenty of people out there that only support Elvis and Lisa. I support Elvis, Lisa, Riley, Finley, Harper, Gladys, Vernon, Ben. I support all of the bloodline. But there's some people that think you should only support Elvis and Lisa. I don't agree. I think if you're a true fan, Elvis would want us to support his grandkids. I repeat, Elvis would want us to support his grandkids. I really believe that. So I'm a big Riley fan. And I think she was shocked when Priscilla walked in. They all knew she was there, and I've seen the behind-the-scenes pictures. I've seen them. But did they expect her to walk into that room? I don't think so. Just my opinion, guys. Let's have a look. If Priscilla is buried at Graceland, Louis, I think Graceland will lose visitors. Well, I know what you mean, Vincenzo, but nah, it's a gold mine. Come on. It's a businessman's dream The Elvis fans are very loyal. They will always love Elvis and Lisa. Nah, it won't make any difference. If anything, the nosy interest people will still go. I think it's always going to be a very, very good business, Graceland, no matter who gets buried there. But I know many people think that it will affect business. I know that because I keep hearing it. So Prissy was lucky Nicole didn't pull her up about talking about a godfather. Yeah, Nicole Richie is the goddaughter of Michael Jackson. Elvis will be proud of Riley. I agree. I really like Riley. I'm a massive fan of Riley. Now, Riley is a bit too friendly with some of the old Scientology. The other day that Riley did with Dear Chelsea, I was a bit disappointed with a couple of things that she said, but Riley has had a different life. You know, she grew up partly with Scientology. Her father was involved in Scientology, Danny Q. So Riley is a very different person than Lisa, than Priscilla, than Elvis. She's just had a different upbringing. So I'm always at one point Riley said, "Oh, Priscilla's wonderful most of the time." She went, "Oh, Priscilla is wonderful most of the time." Yeah, you get it, guys? So I don't think the public are being told the truth about how Riley sees Priscilla. Even with the twins, we don't really know how the relationship with Finley and Harper and Priscilla is different, because don't forget, Priscilla for a while had the twins. When there were problems with the twins' dad, Michael Lockwood, Priscilla had them for a while. So come on, it's still nanny. It's still gran. Whatever has gone on, it's still gran. It's still blood. Come on, guys. How many of us have got relatives that we don't get on with, but but we talk to them because it's family. It's family, yeah? So it's a bit of that, I think. So, I mean, they're only 16. I'll tell you what, before you know it, they're going to be adults and they're going to be involved. In Lisa's book, there's a part where Lisa sat in her seat at EP Enterprises and she told Lisa to get... Yeah, I know about that, Vicky. Yeah, it's so sad. Should never have happened. I also say Elvis feels guilty about leaving his daughter. I'm confused. Elvis didn't leave his daughter. Do you mean that they were apart? Because Elvis didn't leave his daughter. Or do you mean when he went on to do the movies? Like when he went to the movie sets? Yeah, I can see him feeling bad about that. Yes, when he went to the movie sets. When he went on tour. Do you mean like when he would go on tour? I love Riley. I'm a bit concerned that, yeah, the Scientology friendships she's got does concern me, but I still think Riley is there for Elvis. She's there for her mother, for Lisa. You know, I've watched quite a few blogs lately with Riley, and she loved and adored Lisa and Benjamin. She really did. She really liked Michael Jackson as well, I can tell. But she was very young, wasn't she, when she was living at Michael Jackson's home? Is it Netherlands, wherever it's called? Yeah, I think what Denzel means is like when Elvis would go on tour. Yeah, is that what I think? I think that's what he meant. My friend Nicola Cripper hasn't gone to Graceland for years, and now she thinks it's become too commercial. It definitely is, 100% too commercial. And as I was saying, that it's like Elvis Presley Enterprises do not defend Elvis. They do not defend Elvis. They are a business. The fans defend Elvis. The fans defend Elvis. We defend Elvis. Which is a shame, because I personally think they should. If we could talk to Elvis in heaven, he would hate that he died and left Lisa down here to deal with all this. Like, yeah, I agree. We can't change it, though. Yeah. We can't change. Anyway, guys, we've been on for 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's one of our longest live streams. I've loved it. It's been quite a passionate one. So thank you for joining me, guys. I'm going to have to go. So if you've enjoyed what I do, buy us a coffee, hit the super thank you, like, subscribe. If you want to be a member, it's only $1 a month. We've got 90 members. 90. When we get to 100, we're going to do something. So thanks for joining, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Denzel, it's been interesting debating with you, my friend. You're always very welcome. You're always very welcome. So thanks, everyone, for joining. Happy New Year, 2025. We are going to defend Elvis every day, and Lisa, and the bloodline. 2025, we're going to take care of business. Bye, Vincenzo. So thanks, all of you guys. And Linda, I'm sorry that I didn't message you, but you can watch the replay. Watch the replay. So I send you all love. Thanks, guys. All the best. See you later, alligator. Happy 2025.